When you look at the best in the world, Formula One drivers, Olympic swimmers, elite athletes, you might think they're superhuman, but they're not. They've simply learned how to consistently access what we call peak performance. So what does that actually mean? Peak performance is when your mind and body are fully aligned. When your energy, focus, and actions are optimized so you can operate at your absolute best. Not just once in a while, but over and over again. Let me explain how. Here's something people don't realize. Peak performance doesn't start with mindset or motivation or even habits. It starts with biology. Because the truth is, you cannot outperform your body. If your energy is drained, nothing else matters. You can have the best strategies in the world, but if you're running on 10% battery, you'll still struggle. There are 4 pillars of energy you must master. Let's go through them one by one. Pillar 1. Sleep. Sleep is not just recovery, it's performance preparation. Studies show that just one night of poor sleep can impair reaction time, memory, and decision-making to the same level as being legally drunk. That's not laziness. That's biology shutting down. So, if you want to operate at your best, treat sleep like a meeting with your future self. Consistent bedtime, dark, cool room, no screens an hour before bed. Pillar 2, nutrition. Now, let's go deeper here. Food isn't just fuel. It's programming. Every bite you take is a message to your body. Sugary snacks tell your system to spike and crash. Whole foods tell your brain, stay sharp, stay steady. Think of it this way. Do you think an Olympic sprinter fuels up with soda and candy before stepping onto the track? Of course not. Yet most people expect elite performance while living on fast food. Shift your nutrition and you shift your mind. Pillar 3, movement. This isn't about becoming an athlete, it's about activating your biology. Movement literally changes your brain chemistry. Just 20 minutes of moderate exercise increases dopamine, serotonin, and BDNF, a protein that supports learning and memory. In plain English, movement makes you smarter and happier. And here's the key, it doesn't have to be extreme. A morning walk, a set of push-ups between work sessions, even stretching resets your system. Your brain is not designed to sit still all day. Pillar 4, mental rest. Most people sabotage themselves here. Your brain is not meant to be on 24/7. Constant stimulation, scrolling, notifications, multitasking fries your focus. You need white space, breaks, even boredom. That's why your best ideas often come in the shower or on a quiet walk. Your brain finally has space to connect dots. The point is simple. If you manage your energy, everything else becomes easier. If you ignore it, everything else becomes impossible. But having energy isn't enough. What separates the average from the exceptional is not just having energy, it's knowing where to direct it. And that's where the next piece comes in. Focus? Imagine this. 2 people work for the same 8 hours. One spends the day bouncing between emails, Slack messages, TikTok, and a dozen half-finished tasks. The other spends 3 blocks of 90 minutes in deep, uninterrupted work. At the end of the day, who really made progress? The answer is obvious. And yet most people live like the first person. Busy, but not effective. Here's why. Every time you switch tasks, your brain incurs what's called a switching cost. Research shows it can take up to 23 minutes to fully regain deep focus after even a small distraction. That means if you check your phone 5 times an hour, you're never actually reaching your peak mental performance. Focus is rare. And because it's rare, it's a superpower. Here's how to build it. Step 1. Eliminate distractions before you start. Don't trust yourself. Put your phone in another room. Use app blockers. Close every tab that's not directly tied to your task. Step 2. Commit to one thing only, not 3, not 5, just 1. Ask yourself, if I only accomplish this today, would it still be a successful day? That's your task. Step 3. Use focus blocks. I recommend the 90-minute method. Set a timer, dive deep, no interruptions. When the timer ends, take a real break, walk, stretch, reset, then go again. And here's the beauty. The more you do this, the easier it becomes. Focus is a muscle. The first week might feel impossible. By week 3, you'll crave it. And when you taste it, the deep flow, the effortless productivity, you'll never want to go back to surface level busyness again. But here's the truth. Even if you master focus, there's still a trap. Because if you don't see yourself as the kind of person who performs at a high level, you'll always self-sabotage. And that brings us to the third key. Most people think peak performance is about goals. They say, once I achieve this, then I'll become the kind of person I want to be. But that's backwards. High performers don't start with goals. They start with identity. Formula One drivers don't wake up and say, I want to drive fast today. They live as racers, their training, their nutrition, even the way they think. It all flows from the identity of being a driver. That's why they can perform at such an elite level under pressure. It's not something they try to switch on. It's who they are by default. The same principle applies to you. They don't say, I want to run a marathon. They say, I'm a runner. They don't say, I want to build a business. They say, I'm an entrepreneur. Here's why this matters. Your brain craves consistency. If your identity is, I'm just someone who tries to work out, then every workout feels like a battle. But if your identity is, I'm an athlete, working out isn't something you try to do. It's simply what you do. Here's a practical way to reframe. Instead of asking, what do I want to achieve? Ask who is the type of person that achieves this. Then start living as that person immediately, even in small ways. Want to be a writer? Write 1 page a day. Want to be productive? Ask yourself in each moment, what would a focused person do here? Over time, these small identity-based actions compound. Habits stick because they match who you believe you are. And once your identity shifts, peak performance stops being forced. It becomes natural. But even if you master identity, focus, and energy, there's still one more dangerous belief that quietly holds people back. And it's the idea that motivation is what drives success. Let's break that myth right now. Here's the truth. Motivation is the biggest scam in self-improvement. We're told to wait until we feel inspired. But think about it. If your entire success depends on how you feel in the moment, you'll never be consistent. Some days you'll be on fire. Most days you won't. Motivation is like the weather. It changes constantly. Performance can't depend on something so unstable. The highest performers in the world don't rely on motivation. They rely on systems and structure. Think about Michael Phelps. At his peak, he swam 6 days a week, training around 50 miles weekly. Do you really think he felt motivated every single morning at 5 a.m.? No, he didn't need to. He had a system. Wake up, swim, eat, rest, repeat. Choice was removed, resistance disappeared, and this is the secret. You don't need to feel like doing something to do it. You just need to make doing it the default. Practical examples. Don't rely on willpower to eat well. Don't keep junk food in your house. Don't rely on discipline to work. Block distractions in advance. Don't rely on motivation to exercise. Schedule it like an appointment you can't miss. Once you build systems, action comes first and motivation follows. And that's how you reach peak performance consistently, not occasionally. Even if you master energy, focus, identity, and systems, there's one thing that separates good performers from truly elite ones: the ability to measure, reflect, and adjust. Peak performance isn't static, it's a process. You need a feedback loop to know what's working, what's holding you back, and how to keep improving. Here's how to start. Step 1, track your inputs, not just outputs. Most people only care about results. Did I hit my sales target? Did I finish the project? That's important, but it's not the full picture. Track the actions that lead to results. How many focused hours you put in, how consistently you exercised, how well you slept, or how deeply you practiced a skill. Step 2, reflect regularly. Set aside a few minutes each day or week to ask yourself what worked, what didn't, what drained my energy, what helped me focus. Writing this down is powerful because it creates awareness, which is the first step toward change. Step 3, adjust your systems. Feedback without action is wasted. Use what you learn to tweak your routines, your environment, or your habits. Maybe your morning energy spike is wasted on checking emails. Shift it to deep work. Maybe your workouts feel forced. Reframe them as part of your identity. Small changes compound over time. They reinforce the habits and identity you're building. So let's recap. First, the energy equation. Sleep, nutrition, movement, and rest are the foundation. Second, focus as a superpower. The ability to go deep on one task separates average from extraordinary. Third, identity over goals. You fall to the level of who you believe you are. So, shift your identity and habits align. Finally, why motivation is useless and how to build a feedback loop. That's the framework for peak performance. But here's the real unlock. To truly live it, you need to enter flow state. That's exactly what I cover in my next video. How to easily enter flow state anytime you want. I'll see you there.